Right, hi everyone, welcome to Newcastle Fans TV, the forum. Some of their minutes have been released today and we're on the ball. We're here releasing some of that. We've got Mark, obviously you would have seen him this week as well. He's part of our Facebook team, is also present as well. So Mark, thank you very much for coming on as well. This is what fans have been wanting for. We know it's been delayed. When you went into St James's Park, what was the mood like? Was it apprehensive? Was it quiet? Was people nervous? Tell me, what was it like in there?
Do you know what? I think it was just the case of finally getting there and being able to get the answers to the questions that we want.
Does the club think the transfer window, I guess over the summer, was a success? Because us as fans, we don't. Do the club?
The problem is, do they think that they could have done better? Yes. Do they think that the squad is better than it was when they started the transfer window? Yes. So they will look at it and think that they have strengthened the squad more than they did at the beginning of the season. And again, the fact that we'll still be put, every player that went in and every player that went out was the decision of Rafa and no one else. Because I know some people will go, oh, why are we doing this? Yeah, Rafa is the one that made the decision on who came in and who went out. If he didn't want them to go out, they weren't going out.
The transfer window, Rafa's already had his transfer summit. Is there any plans and process coming up to January? Because it's crucial because we don't know what's happening with Rafa's contract. So what can you tell us? Can you tell us who answered that question? What was said about that?
Well, again, obviously Mr. Charnley answered that one there. Again, I wouldn't read into what the papers are classing as a summit. The club, as they would with anything, will always have meetings with the scouting network, the manager, and see what's going on there. So it's an ongoing process there. It's not that there's almighty summit that's happening. It may just be that the meeting is they normally would there to discuss things.
What Charnley said about that? So did Lee Charnley, just speaking of Lee Charnley in general, was he doing most of the speaking in this meeting? Or was it like a general...
Well, I would say because of most of the issues were probably around his remit, yes.
Can you just let us know who else was there? Sorry, I should have probably touched upon that at the beginning of the video. Who was the club's representatives?
Well, you had Kate, who's the head of the Newcastle United Foundation there. Yeah. You had Eddie Rutherford, who's the head of the facilities, who's had quite a few articles and quite a few articles in the Chronicle. You had the two Stephens there, which is the head of security and also ticketing. And then you had Nicola, who's the head of business something. It's slipped my mind there all of a sudden.
No, that's fine. There's a few people there as well. And how many fans were there roughly from the forum?
I think there's only one or two of the actual members missing there. So you're probably looking at
full house.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Right. What's Rafa's contract? What's going on? Who answered that? What did they say?
Again, Lee Charnley answered that one. He felt that the club were close to getting something done there. But again, they're honestly going to work. They're going to work at it. That's who they want. They want Rafa as their manager. They will continually work to try and get that done.
And what do you personally think? Do you think he will sign on at the end of the season?
At the beginning of the season, I would be sitting there thinking, no. I am moving a little bit towards 50-50 now.
Because what was said, and you generally feel that Lee Charnley, I don't know, a lot of fans are obviously going to be, Charnley talks a lot of rubbish, talks this, that, the other, but the way he was describing it, did he come across as quite passionate the way he was describing that?
Yeah, he is passionate. Like I said, he has most of the contact, as we know there, because Rafa's already said that his contact is with Lee Charnley. It's not with anyone else. So it is just that point there where you need to look and think, what's been said in the media, is that always going to be correct? You're also looking and thinking, again, because obviously Rafa won't be doing the contract talks himself there, as with the footballers there, he'll have advisors and agents there. Have you got advisors and agents who are acting in Rafa's best interests or theirs?
Interesting.
Because that can sometimes happen with players as well there.
What do you think, was any of the questions asked on back of that, like transfers, Rafa's only going to sign if he's backed? Did anybody pipe up and say that?
No, but I think obviously Rafa wants to know what the view of the club is there in terms of that. Yeah, with the club will always look and think of the financial aspect of it. Now, again, we'll look at that and think, let's say there's one pot of money. Do we turn around and say, well, let's take a little bit of that money which we're going to use for transfers to put it into somewhere else? Or do we turn around and say, well, look, we'll leave that and we'll focus on the transfers?
I think it's always difficult when Mike Ashley isn't putting money in the club, isn't it? And that's what Newcastle fans are really upset about as well. Just speaking of Mike Ashley, was Mike Ashley? Obviously we know he wasn't there, but was he quite a big topic in the conversation over the night? There
were a few mentions of him, yeah.
And did anybody mention, is he affected by the protests? Is he affected by the MPs? The Magpie group are pushing hard. Did they get answers from that?
Well, I don't think anyone would not be affected when they're having protests against them, they're having the name chanted, they're having, yeah.
So did anybody, you don't have to mention any names in there, but did any of the officials come out and say, yes, he is affected? Or did they try and put it under the carpet?
No, there wasn't anything where they've come out and said, oh, he is affected, he is that there. But in terms of...
Is that your personal opinion when you were saying that no, you will be affected if there is protests?
What other people were saying around there is that, can you name anyone that wouldn't be affected with, banners being held up against them, protests and that, the media there, the names getting the code and that, everyone's going to be affected by that. So it is just from that where there's probably nothing specific, it is going to be whether you can't see him that he's not going to be affected by it.
I think it's getting to him, because even you just have to look at the sports director, isn't it? Now, other questions as well. I'm guessing this was Eddie Rutherford's topic, is the state of the training ground, the state of the stadium. Obviously, we've posted photos all over our social media. Other people have. It looks like recently, funny enough, there's been a few pictures coming out. It looks like there's been a few painting in a few parts of the ground as well. Now, there was plans in the tunnel to change that and have, pictures of all elder, great players and etc. going down, walking off into the stadium for the players, the tunnel. What was the response of, I'm guessing it was Eddie who answered that, the state of the stadium, because we're criticising it at the moment?
You can understand where he's come from, because that's his position, that's what he's in charge of there. So there was a little bit the fact that you could feel that he was upset by the negativity that he's got. Whether or not all the pictures that are being posted are of recent, we don't know. So when we see pictures of the training ground, when we see pictures of certain areas of the stadium, obviously I haven't been right around the stadium yet, none of us have been in the training ground. So we don't know whether or not those pictures are recent. The other thing also, which again was pointed out, is if there is issues, let the club know. Because otherwise, how can they fix something if they're not aware of it?
Even little things for me is like, you look outside the stadium, it needs a lick of paint. That doesn't cost. You can get your paint and decorators in. Do you know what I mean? And we've even said that on video. It's in the training ground, and Rafa's pushed for this numerous times. He wants that world-class training facility, which we don't have at the moment. And you look at Whitley Park, it's a dump, let's be honest, and compared to Premier League standards, isn't it?
It isn't the best. It isn't the most recent one there. It isn't going to be up to the levels of where you see the Man Cities and the Man U's and the Arsenals and that, where you see their training facilities. But does it do its job? Yes. The main things, obviously, which the players play on are the pitches. And the pitches have had the improvements done. That's something that has already been in the press recently with regards to that. Yeah, would I want to see the training ground improved? Certainly. But again, the question which needs to be looked at this moment in time, would you rather tens of millions of pounds go into the training ground or into the playing squad?
But then again, none of that's happening, is it? Because again, we've got an owner who's not doing...
Yeah, I know, but if the choice was money on the training ground or money on the... So that's where they look at. And the club at the minute is probably going, well, let's try and invest in the playing squad first, so that we've got a playing squad that is going to be, what we want, what the fans want, and then focus improving the facilities.
And do you think that'll actually happen?
I think it will. There's
we're fastly in charge.
It was going to go ahead before relegation, and now again, what we do need to look at in that aspect is we still don't know what impact the relegation has had. because financially it's a massive drop to what the club would have been getting. So we need to look at how we're getting back on our feet from where we've been there. I personally would say, can you blame Mike for the second relegation when he gave McLaren 80 odd million?
But the counteract against that is, well, it wasn't McLaren who was buying the players, was it?
Yeah, but I still think McLaren would have had a say. I don't think McLaren's the type of one that would have said, oh, go on, I'll just have anyone there. So I think he would have had a say in who he wanted there.
I think he had a say more so in the January ones, Shelby and Townsend, but Mitrovic and Bemba were already going to be done deals, weren't they? So
if you look at it, the majority of the players there, look at Mbemba, fans didn't want him to go. We look at Mitrovic, many fans didn't want him to go. Look at Ronaldo, we've got a fair bit of money for him, again with Mitrovic. So in terms of looking at those buys, there wasn't that many flops or failures within that lot.
There is speculation, is Mike actually going to sell the club? Is the club up for sale, Mark?
Yes.
And who again, was that Charnley?
Yeah.
And so did they go into detail about it, or was it just, yeah, it's up for sale, or tell me a bit more?
Well, no, there wasn't detail in terms of pricing, which I can understand there. That's down.
Yeah, they're not going to discuss that in a fans forum.
Yeah,
of course, exactly. I understand that. But
I think the question was answered is, what would you claim as actively selling the club? Everyone knows the club's up for sale. It doesn't take a...
Do you reckon everybody does, though?
Well, it's not really a secret, is it? Yeah, there's many people who know that the club's up for sale there. And the point, again, was still made there. It's not a case of selling for selling's sake.
Let me ask you this, then. If the club's up for sale, why has it took them 8 years on and off to try and sell it? The criticism that a lot of fans get is that Mike Ashley's sitting there pocketing loads and loads of money, wondering where this money is going, and is it really up for sale because he's buying money left, right and centre to other stores across the UK, whereas Newcastle are just sitting duck at the moment. So is he really selling the club? Does he really want up for sale?
Yeah, he does. Again, the point which I'll put out in terms of buying the stores, that's not his money. That's Sports Direct that's doing that. So it's Sports Direct that bought, Devon and...
He's a massive part of it. You can see why fans are upset.
Yeah. Oh, I understand, but it's the money that's within Sports Direct rather than his. But again, just from looking at it, that's where I think, some of the fans are blinkered in that respect there. They're going, oh, Mike's spent 90 million, but he can't do this. Not his money. He hasn't put it in. It's Sports Direct that's put that money in. I don't think he really puts money into Sports Direct. I don't think he puts money in to... in terms of that, I don't think necessarily for transfers, but I think if the club has needed money, like when they were in the Championship, he would put that money up as a short-term measure there that would help the club get through.
Do you think, was any questions asked about, is the club overpriced?
Again, they're not going to go into pricing aspects of that. They're not going to mention pricing there. So if we're not going to find out how much the club's up for sale for, they're not really going to say whether or not they think it's overpriced there. The other issue, again, which I will, and I've mentioned in previous ones, is when you look at potential buyers, are potential buyers going to be put off when they see the current incumbent, the owner of Newcastle, having protests against him? And are they going to look and think, do we want to go there? Because if we get a decision wrong, that could be us. I know it may not necessarily be the case, but there is maybe some of that comes into there because they don't know Newcastle fan. They're not going to know really what's like. They're just going to look and see, well, hang on. So, they've made a bad decision and there's protests against them.
Now, of course, we've touched upon this as well. We were away at Manchester City, but the security was red hot, wouldn't let our camera in. I guess that's some aspects because of the terror attacks might have played a big part in the area. With Ariana Grande concert in particular coming to mind. We can talk about the fan zones, but security for me, I go into the match and, I carry all kinds of equipment, cameras, laptops, mics, everything. And the security search is pretty poor. It is. Someone just looks at my bag like that. Yeah, go on then. That's it. I could have out in there. I could be terrorists. You know what I mean? So what's going to happen there? They're going to do more thorough checks. And I guess that security falls in line with, the road closure outside as well, because that at the moment is still a joke. There's cars going past at 10 to 3. What's happening?
In terms of the bag searches, that's something which is being looked into. I made the point that if you're going to do bag searches, you need to do a bag search. There's no point just looking at the top of it. That was raised, and the specific areas the head of security wanted to know, because that's not what he expects or think happens. So obviously it is there, but again, you look at that and it is down to the steward aspect of it. It's the steward, whether or not the steward's going to do that job. So that's something that's going to be picked up on there.
But I think that goes a higher level, because if you look, it's not just one steward, it's too many.
The message can come down from the head of security, but if we remember, those stewards, as with most stewards in most crimes, aren't going to be directly employed by the club. They're going to be agencies that are shifted in. So whether or not the message is filtering from the Newcastle United side of things down to the NC and down to the people, we won't know there. But like I said, it is something in case. In terms of the road closure, that is something that Newcastle United don't have an iota of control over. That is down to the city council.
Yeah, explain that a little bit more for people who don't know that.
Where the boundary is probably the pavement in terms of, or the wall where the 9 bar is. That is the perimeter in terms of what Newcastle United have. That's the land that the ground's on there. That's what they're responsible for. The road around it is what the council is responsible for. Now, again, a lot of people might criticise the fan forum, but the fan forum and a few members of the fan forum were vocal in this when it came up probably a couple of years ago there, and pushed hard for it with the club and to the council, to the point that we got to the level where the road up beside the east stand is closed before the match and after, but the other areas where you're just running down past the Strawberry and also Strawberry Play, that's only closed after. And it's always been the agreement that it'll just be after the game. We've picked up the point that it should be before the game, because anyone can come in and go, that road's open before the game, so why do...
It takes one car to go through
exactly, and
50 people.
The point was raised by a couple of the forum members there. It doesn't take anyone to look at it and go, well, we'll not come after the game, we'll come before the game. Now, the club has said that they will push the council again. They'll ask for the meetings with the certain forum members that pushed it the last time, like the fan zone, which was at the city, at Manchester City. Yeah, and obviously the Augsburg game for the friendly, they find that when the roads closed off, there seems to be a better atmosphere. And the one that they pointed out was actually the Leicester City game last season, when obviously it was the anniversary that the road closed off. Yeah, they had the flag, and that was actually a really good atmosphere. And I think they realised that, but their hands are tied because there's nothing that they can do. It's down to the council. Whether or not the police have involvement in that as well, it is a different matter there. But it seems like the council are kicking the heels.
Do you feel safe going at that ground?
Yes, but I do think there's a lot that don't.
Is there enough fans for them? Secondly, when is the next one? Have the club said? And thirdly, do they get a rough ride?
In terms of fan forum, the next meeting is scheduled for February, which was agreed in the April one, which unfortunately I couldn't attend because I was down London, unfortunately. So we're trying to prepare them so we'll know roughly when they are, and then it's going to be a lot easier when they plan it and we'll go into them. I do think the fan forum get a rough ride because, again, I've seen comments on social media today. They're nothing but, they're just happy to be wined and dined. I can tell you, we don't get wined and dined. We give up our own time. There's people that come from long distances, whether or not it be London, further, they take their time to come up and give their time. Normally it's not that long, but it was 3 hours. So that's 3 hours out of people's time just sitting there. Then we'll go with the getting there and getting back there. We don't get anything from it. We don't get, well, apart from abuse and people saying that it's worth it. We do put the questions to that. Yeah, I understand maybe the minutes aren't in-depth and thorough as what people want them to, but there may be reasons why the club for something cannot put them in there. So whether or not for transfer things, they can't put things in there because it could upset or affect players or the clubs or agents. The club needs to be more transparent.
Great.
And that's something again that was made a point of to that there, where I think the club needs to be at the forefront. Now, whether or not that's going to the local media.
When you went away, you walked out, you walked home, you went home. Were you happy with the answers you got, or do you feel that it's been brushed around or they've got under? Or tell me what you were honestly thinking when you went home. Were you happy going away from that fans forum?
I was satisfied. I'm never going to be happy in that, and that's just me. As a Newcastle fan, I'm a typical. I'm never going to be happy. I'm not happy because...
You're never happy. Let's give it a rating then, because we do this in player ratings. Let's try and give this a rating. If you rate this out of 10, how would you rate this fans forum in terms of honest answers and problem solving?
8.
You give that an 8. That's pretty high. You're pretty impressive that.
A lot of the things were answered there in terms of...
Weren't dodged. You felt they were really answered, weren't dodged.
No, and they never does. Like I said, there may be a case of not everything is put in the minutes there, and I said there could be reasons for that. Lee Charnley will go, oh, well, he's the managing director there, let's have a go at him. We don't know what he does, we don't know what happens there because we don't get any communication.
You give it an 8, which is interesting. I'm sure people are going to be disagreeing with you. I guess it would be nice if Mike Ashley was there to answer those, but we're never going to get that hour. We're never going to get that. So
we'll always leave the invitation open to him.
Mark, thank you very much for giving us your honest answers. You play devil's advocate of both sides. I appreciate that. You probably get some stick, but anyway, that's part of the fun. Let us know what you think. It's a touchy subject. It's been going on a long video. We'll turn this into a podcast as well, since it's turned out to be a long video. Let us know what you lot think. You're going to have a lot to say. I know you are about everything about the club. Let us know everything. You get it off your chest as well.